Hi, I'm Susanna and I'm on a solo writing retreat. But before I tell you what it is that I'm here to write, let's do a little recap of where I'm at with my multiple writing projects. My main writing project and the one that I'm most eager to finish is Project Prehistory, a dual point of view coming-of-age story set in a prehistoric medieval society. I finished the 5th draft in June and it is now resting. My plan is to start querying early next year and I want to read it one more time before that. Like I said, I finished reading the manuscript in June and I also did some additional edits to chapter 1 based on Writers' Sanctuary first page contest. I submitted my first chapter to the contest earlier this spring. And in June I finally revised the first chapter based on the feedback I got. As I was doing that, I realized that there are still things that I can condense. So I'm hoping when I do the final read-through before querying, I can cut at least few hundred words more. But even though the manuscript itself is now resting, I have been working on the query package for Project Prehistory. This will be my first time querying, so there's a lot of things that I need to learn. I spent quite a lot of time in July watching YouTube videos about getting an agent and the querying process. I've probably watched over 200 videos. The next step is to take what I've learned and apply it to my own query package. I've already written the first draft of my query letter and I also have a synopsis that I actually wrote already when I was working on draft 3. That means that I need to update the synopsis because I changed the text a little during draft 4. But for the most part, the synopsis seems to be okay. I have several months to polish both the query letter and the synopsis. I do not want to rush this process. Now, if you followed my writing logs, you know that back in April I sent a literary fiction short story to 3 literary magazines. In July I sent it to a 4th magazine and I also got my first form rejection. So it's currently under consideration in 3 magazines and I'm planning to send it to another magazine in August. In May and June, you may remember I was working on the second draft of a cozy fantasy short story. I finished the draft in June and it's currently with beta readers. So while my other writing projects are on hold, it's time to start a new one. Or rather, I'm going back to an old project. Last November I wrote the first draft of a modern Pride and Prejudice retelling and I want to get started on draft 2. So last week, as part of Jane Austen July, I read through the first draft and made notes about the changes I want to make. And I decided what better way to start working on draft 2 than a little summer vacation / solo writing retreat. And that's why I'm here. Where's here, you might ask? I'm in the city of Hämeenlinna in southern Finland. I'll be staying here tonight and tomorrow I'll go a little farther up north to another town called Tampere for the second night. The reason I wanted to come to Hämeenlinna is that there is a medieval castle here that I have never visited before. The name of the city literally means the castle of Häme, which is the name of the region in Finland where the castle is located. Anyway, before I start the writing portion of this retreat, let's go sightseeing and visit the castle. The medieval castle was fascinating. I spent closer to 3 hours in the castle. I joined a guided tour and I also explored the castle on my own. Last year I visited the Hämeenlinna castle, which is another medieval castle in Finland. But I have to say that in Hämeenlinna Castle there was a lot more to see. In the Olavinlinna Castle, the majority of the castle you could only see during the guided tour, whereas in the Hämeenlinna Castle you could explore the castle on your own. There were also bigger museum exhibitions. So even though personally I find the Olavinlinna Castle much prettier, Hämeenlinna Castle has much more things to see and do. After the castle I walked around the city a little bit, but then I had to come back to the hotel and rest my feet. I'm going to go to the grocery store to grab something to eat, and then I'm finally ready to start writing. Salad and snacks because I'm on vacation. When I read the retelling, I noticed that the first half of the text is in much better shape than the latter half, where I need to draft a few completely new scenes. But editing the first half should be relatively easy. I don't know how much I'll be able to get done during this retreat, but I'd like to edit at least a few of the early scenes. I'm finally ready to start. Scene 1 has 339 words, so it's really short, and since I only need to clarify a few things, it shouldn't take me too long. Scene 2 needs a lot more work, but I'm hoping that I can at least start it tonight as well. Good morning, I just had breakfast and now I have about an hour before I need to check out from the hotel and go to the train station. Yesterday I edited scene 1, which was 366 words, which means that I added some words. I also edited most of scene 2, which was 1397 words. That scene needed a lot more work. In that scene I introduced a lot of characters and I needed to make sure that the characterizations make sense. In draft 1 I was also using a lot of speech stacks, so there was a lot of she said, she said, she said. Now I'm firmly in the camp of said is not dead, and I think that you should mostly use said and asked in speech stacks. However, if you overuse said, it becomes repetitive. So I needed to replace a lot of those speech stacks with action tags. That also helped with a bit of a white room syndrome that was going on in draft 1. Anyway, I still have about 400 words of scene 1 left. But the ending of the scene shouldn't require any major changes. So I'm certain that I can do it before I need to leave. Time to start editing. Scene 3 has over 2000 words, so I don't think I'll be able to finish it tonight, but I'll try to edit at least 1000 words. Yesterday evening I edited 1228 words from scene 3. This morning I have a couple of hours before I need to check out from the hotel and go to the train station, so I want to finish scene 3. I have about 1000 words left.